Hello everyone, this is Matt Henderson with Marsh McLennan Agency, and in this brief video we will be reviewing the medical, dental, and vision plans available to those employees covered under the House, Lee, Mass, McDonald, and Nelson PC plan. A quick note, the good news is we're not making any changes to the underlying plan. So if you're already on the plan, hopefully this is a great review. If you're newly eligible to the plan, hopefully this gives a good overview of what options are available to you. Please note that this is a brief summary that I've put together of all three, and you should always refer to the full plan summary provided by Regents and the other carriers to go much greater into detail. The things that I put on this screen here are the things that generally most people care about in a very broad sense. So let's dig right in. You have three medical plans available to you through Regents: the Gold 1000 plan, the Gold 2000 plan, and the Silver HSA qualified plan. I'm going to be spending most of the time talking about the in-network benefits that I've highlighted in green. It is important to be aware that you do have coverage out-of-network as well, but the out-of-pocket maximums are significantly higher. Fortunately, it's very rare that you would encounter out-of-network charges, but it's important to be aware of what those benefits are in addition to what the in-network benefits are. So we'll start with the Gold 1000 plan. The first thing you'll notice is it has a $1,000 deductible for an individual, $2,000 deductible for the family. If you reach those deductibles for the individual or family, then it goes to a 70-30 split called coinsurance. Regents pays 70% of the bill, you pay the remaining 30% of the bill until you have reached your out-of-pocket maximum, which in this case is $7,000 for the individual, $14,000 for the family. Generally speaking, the deductibles and the coinsurance are only going to come into play for more significant health expenditures. Things like hospitalization, major diagnostic tests, which you see down here below, the deductible, then 30% has to be satisfied for both of those. But in most cases, the vast majority of your routine health care is going to be covered via a copay. So the copay for primary care providers is $30, for specialists is $50, for urgent care is $50 as well. The emergency room has a separate $300 copay, and you'll see it's the same copays even on the Gold 2000 plan, 30 for primary care, 50 for specialists, 50 for urgent care, and then that same $300 copay for the emergency room. The reason insurance companies put that higher copay for the emergency room is it's a little bit of a gut check so that you can ask yourself, is this really an emergency that warrants me going to the emergency room? And if the answer is yes, then by all means go there. That's why you have insurance. If you're actually admitted to the hospital, that copay is oftentimes waived. Or is it something that could be handled same day via an urgent care clinic, assuming your primary care provider is unable to see you? It's a big savings in cost to you and the health plan and to the health plan, and that's why that copay differential exists between urgent care and emergency room. Okay, we've already talked about the fact that hospitalization, major diagnostic tests like MRI, CT scans, etc., are subject to that deductible, then covered at the 30% coinsurance. Your pharmacy plan, generic medications are split into preferred generics and non-preferred generics, and those will either have a $10 copay or a $35 copay. Brand medications are the same way. If it's a preferred brand or if it's a non-preferred brand, it's covered at 50%. Specialty medications, if it's a preferred specialty, it's covered at 80%, you pay 20%. If it's non-specialty, you pay 50%. So that's the Gold plan. And as I've mentioned, most of the Silver plan is the same benefit. You see it's the same copays. The difference is the deductible is a little bit higher at $2,000 for an individual, $4,000 for a family. So oftentimes people might choose the little bit higher deductible to make the premium a little bit lower, especially if you're enrolling dependents on the plan. The third option you have to choose from is the HSA qualified plan, a health savings account. If you're enrolled on this plan, you also have the option to go open a tax-free health savings account, and all the contributions that go into that savings account are tax-free. So if it's done via payroll, it's a tax-free payroll deduction, so it's taken out before your income taxes are calculated. If you make contributions outside of payroll, you just need to account for those when you do your taxes at the end of the year to account for that deduction there. So the deductible is $3,500 for an individual, $7,000 for the family, and then the coinsurance is an 80-20 split. $6,900 is your out-of-pocket maximum, $13,800 is your out-of-pocket maximum if you're covering family. An HSA qualified plan is a very, very simple plan design. Everything is subject to that deductible except for your preventive care. Preventive care on all three of these plans is covered in full. There's no copay, there's no deductible. That's your annual physical, generally speaking, so there's nothing wrong with you. You're just going to the doctor for your annual checkup. Sometimes it's called a wellness exam. Any lab work, any diagnostic work that's considered preventive care is also covered in full. But on the HSA plan, with the exception of preventive care, everything goes towards that $3,500 deductible before the plan pays, including prescription drugs. You can see deductible, then you pay 20%. So that's what makes it an HSA qualified plan. When the government introduced these HSA plans way back in the early 2000s, they prescribed exactly what the plan needed to look like in order for it to be HSA qualified. It didn't just have to have a higher deductible, it also had to have everything subject to that deductible that would allow you to go open a health savings account. So remember, whatever you put into the health savings account is your money to spend on healthcare. So let's say you've got a $3,500 deductible, you put about $220 a month into your health savings account, you'll have enough to cover that deductible by the end of the year. And let's say you only spend $1,000 or $1,200 of that. Well, the remainder stays in your health savings account, it rolls to the future, and then you can either choose to continue those same contributions and let that account grow and build, or some people just like to make sure they've got enough in there to cover that deductible if they need it. There are annual limits on how much you can put into your health savings account, but ultimately no limit on how much can be in there. And the money goes in tax-free, it grows tax-free, and as long as you're spending it on healthcare, it comes out tax-free. Sometimes people call that the triple tax advantage of a health savings account. Once you turn 65, you can spend that money on things other than healthcare. You just treat it as ordinary retirement income and just pay ordinary income tax on it without any penalties. That prompts people to sometimes call it a healthcare IRA. So if you're someone who doesn't go to the doctor very much, and if you take prescription medications, they're generally generics, and there's a reasonable expectation of maintaining and growing a balance in your health savings account, then this would be a really great option for you to choose, again, because of its ability to help you plan for the future. If you're the kind of person that says, well, I like the tax-free tax advantage of the health savings account, but I'm not sure that I would ultimately accumulate dollars in there. I go to the doctor a certain number of times of the year. I have these medications I take. In other words, whatever you contribute to your health savings account would pretty much be spent each year. But you want something a little bit more affordable, especially if you're enrolling dependents. That's where the Gold 2000 plan might be the right choice for you. And if you're someone who says, no, I know that I've got these healthcare expenditures coming up. I know that I use my insurance. Maybe there's a certain medical condition that you have to get covered, or a planned surgery in the future. Then it might be worth paying a little bit extra to be on the Gold 1000 plan. The nice part about the fact that you have 3 different health plans to choose from is that healthcare is not a one-size-fits-all proposition. We all have different needs. So that's why it's really, really fantastic that you can make choices based on your individual needs and which one of the health plans is going to be the best choice for you. Okay, so there's your brief summary on the medical plans. Let's look down to the bottom part of the page and let's talk about your dental plan. So through Delta Dental, the individual deductible is $50. If you're enrolling dependents, it's up to 3 times that. So a maximum of $150 towards deductible if you have other family members that meet the deductible. The annual plan maximum is $1,000. So think of that like Delta Dental having a bucket of money and $1,000 in it and your name on it. And each covered dependent has their own bucket with their own $1,000 in there. Every time you go to the dentist, you submit the bill to the carrier. They pull the money out of your bucket and go pay the dentist. And if you drain your bucket, you've exhausted the benefit for the year, but January 1st of each year, your bucket is replenished. So that's an annual benefit that you get of $1,000. So Class 1, the preventive and diagnostic work, is covered at 100% in-network, 90% out-of-network. The basic restorative work, which is fillings, things like endodontics, periodontics, et cetera, are covered at 90% in-network, 80% out-of-network. The major restorative work, crowns, dentures, bridges, et cetera, covered at 50% in and out of network. Implants are also covered at 50%. And this plan does have an orthodontia benefit for children it covers 50% up to, excuse me, up to $1,000 for orthodontia. That's the brief summary on your vision, or your dental plan rather. Now let's talk about your vision plan through VSP. You get your exam copay is $10, and you get an exam once per calendar year. And it's the same copay in or out of network. After the $10 copay, if it's an in-network, the rest of the exam is covered at 100%. If it's out of network, it'll pay the next $39 and you would pay the difference. The materials copay is $25, so if you need glasses, lenses are covered at 100%, and they'll allocate up to $150 towards the frames. If you're out of network, you'll see you have that same $25 copay, but the lenses have a range depending on whether they're single vision, bifocal, trifocal, etc., and the frame allowance is a little bit lower as well. If you need contacts, elective contacts are also covered up to $150 instead of your glasses. So it's one or the other. But if it's therapeutic, they are covered in full. So if your vision doctor says, nope, you need to have contacts, glasses aren't going to cut it, that's a little bit different benefit. And again, out of network, you can see the benefits are just reduced slightly out of network. Okay, so that's the quick summary on your vision plan as well. So if you have any questions for myself or my staff, please refer to our contact information that you'll be able to find on Alliot's website. Don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. And at some point in the near future, I hope to get out into the field and meet you all very soon. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks a bunch for listening.